Hello, welcome to another video with Mr. Loveland. In this video we're looking at how to generate creative ideas for the Resistant Materials AQA GCSE. This is a section that I know a lot of my students deal with, and I think there's no need for them to if we can train them in some simplest techniques early on. So we're going to just jump straight in with some of the techniques that I think we can help them with to generate creative ideas. We're going to look at 3 in this video. Technique 1, using pictures for inspiration. This is particularly good for the coursework, I find. Number 2, using geometric or in fact random shapes for inspiration. And then number 3, combining random objects. And this one works particularly well as a starter, and I find it's very effective with my younger years and getting them introduced to the concept of being creative. So we'll dive straight in. Using pictures for inspiration, I've got here a copy of the mood board that I'm currently using for the purposes of these training videos, and you can see here we've got a picture of, I don't know if you can see, if I can refocus the video, some Arizona rocks in the US, these lovely rocks that have been hewn out by wind and rain. So we're going to use that as an inspiration, and if I can get my technology correct, then I should be able to put a picture of that somewhere else in the video. So what do we have there? We had a kind of wavy sort of shape. So we're currently doing the docking station problem. So we'll try and turn that into some kind of docking station. We'll start off with the inspiration for it. There we go. Let's make that our kind of wave shape, and then let's give ourselves a bit of depth so we know what we're dealing with, and then let's put some of these lines for the different strata of rock in. Let's have some bit of variation, and then we're going to bring them round this corner, and we'll try and have these gaps kind of the same. And right now we're just going to, I don't really know where this is going to go, just going to draw these shapes, and we'll see where we end up. So where we're going to turn this into, what should we do with this? Let's make this a dock. Let's make this the whole thing. So we'll bring this around the back, some kind of random shape. Let's put something on there. Apologies for the slight glitch in the video there. My wife just came home, so I just had to say hello to her. So we've got this shape here. We're going to blend these sides round, and then we'll put let's put the phone in the top. So we'll have it as a curved hole because that feels consistent. Let's put some of these rock strata lines in again if we can, and then we'll just sketch our phone loosely in there, like that. And I think if we were to make this from like some solid blocks, lots of different coloured woods, you get some natural sapele reds or some red oak woods in there, and some beech, some pale whites, some ash, and layer them up in various thickness of layers, and then cut this shape out of it with a bandsaw. I think that would look outstanding. I think with a high gloss finish on that would look just stunning. And then we'd have to find some other ways to add creativity, but we'll look at that in other videos. And this is just how we get the ideas out, how the brain process works. So we had our idea, and we basically just kind of sketched the object, and then worked out how to turn that into whatever we needed it, a phone docking station in this case. So there's our first one, using pictures for inspiration. Number 2, using geometric or random shapes. This is something that I find has proved very useful with my younger years, and is also exceptionally useful for the GCSE exam, so we'll focus a bit of time on this. That's 1, this is 2. But very simply, we start off with some very, very basic geometric shapes. Square, triangle, circle, let's do some sort of star, and then we'll go with something random at the end, just in case we need the possibility for silliness, which we almost always do. So this technique works as such. You start off with shape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start off with shape 1. We're always going to draw in 3D if we can, and I try and get my students straight away to start learning oblique or isometric. Having said I'll draw 3D, I tend to try and do isometric, but that turns out to be oblique, so we'll stick with that for now. So there's our first shape, taken from the cube, and then we're going to do something to this shape with shape number 2, with a triangle. So let's take a triangle out the middle and send that, where's that angle there, send that back, there we go. So now we've got a chunk out, and let's put some triangles on the sides. What should we do with those? Let's make the triangles the legs. So that becomes our baseline. That across, something like that. This line parallel to that line parallel to that line. There we go. So there's now our base. Have we got the space for that one there? No, that's kind of hidden. And then what's next? Then we've got a circle. What can we do with a circle? Well, just to demonstrate, we don't have to use this shape, so we could expand, stretch that shape. Let's make it a big circle, and let's put a curve in here just to demonstrate that you don't have to use exactly the shape we started off with. So we'll curve that surface. Let's curve that surface with a big curve. Get rid of that one. There we go. Star. I seem to quite like, when I do this, I seem to quite like having stars as part of my base. So we're going to have sort of some pop art, wow, inspired base there. There we go. And let's make that 3D if we can. Just bring those lines down. There we go. Lines from all the corners, and then parallel lines joining them up. And there we go. So there's one shape. And now, so that started off from our square, but is radically different now to the square. We need more than one design, so next one we start off with shape number 2. Same concept, but we're going to end up with something radically different again. Sorry, in the middle of the screen there. Let's start with a triangle. If you can see this little pattern below, it looks like I'm cheating and I've not been creative. I actually just recorded this video 15 minutes ago, but realised that my phone was based on portrait rather than landscape, so I'm having to re-record it. So if it looks like I've done this before, and this isn't actually kind of the first time around creativity, it is. This is just the second time around creativity. I promise it was creative the first time I thought it. So there's our triangle. And then we're going to move on to the circle next. Let's put a circle through the middle. There we go. Let's put some shading in there. Show that that's hollow. A bit dark at the back, going in. And then what have we got next? The star. Okay, let's have stars coming out from the side. There we go, and that'll be down there, so we'll come across from there. There we go, it's not particularly nicely drawn, but we get the concept. And then that's not particularly interesting yet, so let's add some randomness. Now let's use this shape here. So what have we got? We've got there we go. And we'll use that as our base. Bases are great places to add creativity. If you're struggling with extra creativity because your kids have drawn a box, or they've drawn something that you know is just not going to get them the marks, tell them it's okay, they can keep that design and add a base to it. And the nice thing about the base is that you can make it as crazy as you like to go and marks for the GCSE, and then they can throw the base away at the end of it all, and they can take home their slightly more boring, but what they actually wanted product, which satisfies both them and the exam board. Here we go. Now, why is this one particularly useful? Because there are 5 geometric shapes here. We could quite quickly draw 5 of these. Section A of the exam requires you to draw 5 creative ideas, or whatever project the exam requires. And most of my students, they get brain freeze. 15 minutes, 5 ideas, 3 minutes an idea. I can't be creative in 3 minutes. And this process, this logical process, takes all that away from them. They don't need to be creative. They just need to combine geometric shapes in a logical, systematic way, as long as they consider stretching, squashing, using half of, etc. these shapes. And I find that they can these are better ideas than I draw for the exam. They can very quickly generate 5 different ideas that tick the 3 marks of creativity for that one, 3 marks of creativity for that one. They do another 3, they've got 15 marks. And you want them walking into your exam as confident as they can be that they know how to gain marks. And we don't know what the theory questions are going to be on, but we do know there will always be a design question. So give them a fighting chance to get this one right. And what was our last one? Combining random objects. This one is fun for starters, and again, this is a fun one that I use with all my year groups. 2 options with this. We either combine random with our object, a bit more like this one up above, or we combine random and random, just to see what comes up. I tend to use this more as a how to be creative exercise or a starter. So what am I talking about here? Well, I want to make this docking station, whatever description it is. So for some reason, the first word that comes into my head when it's random is either cowboy hats or lettuces. Just my brain seems to work in strange ways. So we're going to go for cowboy hats. So we'll just sketch a cowboy hat first and worry about how we're going to turn it into a phone station later. So there's our cowboy hat. Let's make that an element of 3D if we can. There we go. And then we're going to have our phone in here somewhere. So let's put these ties down there. This is the neck, the chin strap thingy, and then a toggle of some description there, and the ties coming down. And then we could have the phone sitting in there. There we go. I have no idea how this would work. But if we then, by itself, I'm not really convinced by that one, but you can just about see, those of you that are thinking, he's done this before, like I said, only 10 minutes ago, and it was fresh then. I thought this isn't really enough right now, so continuing with the Western theme, let's have some kind of stand. Let's draw ourselves some pistols to act as the stand. So there's my bad attempt at drawing a gun. It's a bit measly, isn't it? It's a bit of a weedy gun. And then we'll replicate that on this side as well. Bring that out a little bit, and then we'll try and get that to there. This one might make it look a little bit better if I can. Not sure that's much better. And there's our random object with what we need, this one. And the second one, and this is the one I use a lot of starters, is random and random. I just get the kids to call out as many random objects as they can think of, and that in itself is fun because you get some silly things coming through. And then you, or their job, your job, is for them to combine them to come up with either a combination of the two or something entirely differently. So, like I say, we came up with a potato, and my wife's just got a juicer. So what would you do with a potato juicer? let's go some kind of, let's put the central section of the spikes in there. There's the blade, and then we'll have potato shape coming through there, and then possibly the top section, again random potato shape. It's a bit novel, isn't it? Coming across there, and then let's put one of those funny root things that potatoes seem to grow if you leave them in the cupboard for too long down there. There we go. And we'll leave that as our base. Another glitch. Tell you what, the technology gods are not smiling on me today. Just 30 seconds left. Let's finish this properly. Top section. So just adding a couple of labels if I need to. So there we go. As far as this video is concerned, we've looked at 3 methods for generating creative ideas, using pictures for inspiration, particularly good for our coursework and links to the mood board, using geometric random shapes, again good for creativity, particularly good for the section 1 of the exam, section A, and then combining random objects, equally valid, but great as a fun starter to get your year 8s, year 7s, 8s and 9s, get their brains warmed up to the concept of creativity. Well, I hope this has been helpful. As ever, in all my videos, although I don't always say this, it's always true. If there's any relevant documentation, like possibly the image of this one there, I will try and post a link to it in the text down below. And good luck.